Hello YouTube, this is Shirley426, and today we have the review of the Robot Damashii Gym Custom Ver anime. Now, ever since they started going with the 0083 series, I was really hoping that they would go for the Ver anime of the Gym Custom, and they actually did, so I am very happy of this. I did pre-order this, not from Bandai, but from a different website, so it took me like 1 or 2 weeks longer to get it, but yeah, I believe I got this last week or 2 weeks ago. So as usual, I also brought out the HGUC version right over there to give you guys an idea like how different this is. So because some people still get the wrong idea where this is technically the same, like the figures are still the same as the HGUC version, so I'm wasting money. That's not the case, because granted there are some figures that have like a little bit of a vague differentiation, but still it's not a waste of money. And also, if you bought something that you like, it's never a waste of money. Of course, like there are different situations, but you get my idea. Alright, so let's go over the components before we go on to the review. So let's go over the equipment parts first. So as usual, being a Robot Damashii, we still get a lot of attachments, and we still get the 2 machine guns like the Gym Cannon 2, and we also get the weapon storage connectors, which I already attached to save time. And unlike the Gym Cannon 2, we can attach them right away without taking off any lids, so that's pretty good and efficient. So I'm going to take these away. And we still get the 2 ammo clips for the bigger machine guns, which we can still actually technically store them onto the shield, the lower section right over here. Like that, we can store them on the bottom. Of course, I believe master grade wise, I believe some of them actually store them on the top, but I could be remembering something different. And here's the part where you can store the larger machine gun on inside the shield. Of course, you can, if you don't like this aspect, you can always take it off at the same time. So it's really up to your choice and preferences. Okay, let me get rid of that. And then we get 2 more shield connectors for the arm, which is pretty much typical and standard. And then this one is actually for the backpack, and I'm actually glad they changed the design for this. Of course, they had to change the design because of the backpack design. Obviously, we have to have a different connector here, so it connects it like in some sort of sense like that, and then we can attach the shield to the backpack. So very nice. Once again, I'll be demonstrating this later. Another thing, we have an extra antenna, but the antenna actually comes in separated on the box, so you have to attach the antenna right away. So you have technically, so you do have a spare antenna in case of you losing it or breaking it. So that's actually pretty good. And here we have the hand rack or hand storage system. So currently, as usual on the figure at the moment, I'm using the multi-purpose hand. On the hands, we have the fully open hands, and then we have the semi-open hands, we have the beam saber holding hands, and the trigger finger hand. So that's 5 hands in total, or 5 sets of hands in total. So yeah. And here we have the effect parts. Now, some of these I wasn't expecting. So number 1, we still get the typical bent beam saber effect part, and once again the newer version, and I really love the looks of this. Definitely better than the plain. I mean, granted, the previous ones, they actually did give you a bent one, but they were just the clear, smooth design, while this one actually has more beam effect, explosion design going on here. So once again, definitely love these effect parts. And we get the straight version as well, but this is the smaller one. So if you remember, up to this point, if you bought the GP1 Ver anime, for example, they would give you one of this size and then another longer version. Well, we do get a longer version, but it's not for the beam saber. This is actually a machine gun effect part, which also comes with the burst fire effect. So this is pretty cool. Now, at first, I thought it would not work because of the length, I will admit, is a little bit long. But at the same time, being originally the beam saber effect part mold, I thought it would not work. But after a few pictures, it actually works. Of course, if you think it's a little bit too long, I guess you can cut it off or get another burst effect part from a different kit or from a different figure, I guess, if you don't like this. But still pretty cool. And 2 thruster effect parts. Actually, I think it's been a while since I've seen these, but still very nice. Alright, so let's go over the review. So before we go over any articulations, I would like to go over a slight simple comparison. Because once again, I know in the community there's still people saying that figures are still superior or the model kits are superior. It really depends on the situation, and I can't really say which is superior because they have a different price point. Their quality is definitely different. So yeah. Alright, so here is the HGUC version. The HGUC version, as you can see, is definitely much more brighter. It is more close to white, while the Robot Damashii version, I would have to assume that they went with a more mechanical design or color wise. So something that you would see in space. Definitely has that image of where you would see in a mobile suit hangar or in space, color-wise. So yeah, it's really interesting. Even the visor color, you can see the robot Damashii has a much more darker orange, while the HGUC version has a much more brighter orange going on here. And I believe size-wise, you can see by side, you can see the waist section is a little bit higher on the HGUC version, but the body itself is longer on the robot Damashii version. So it's really interesting to see like these small details they take, the differences they go on for. So the design choices are really interesting. And when looking at the bag, obviously, you know, I think the robot Damashii version wins when it comes to like color separation and detail as well. But still, the HGUC version is also a very good kit. So I do recommend you guys try the gym custom as well. It's also one of the best gym kits out there. Of course, if you like the gym more, that's okay. That's also a pretty good choice as well. All right, so let's go over the articulation. So let's see what we got. Let me close in. So the head, definitely loving the head, especially that visor going on, because I think a visor should be always clear parts, because I believe the gym anime, no, there was a kit that actually didn't really show that aspect, but still, yeah, I do really am thankful that the robot Damashis go for these clear parts, because when it comes to HGUC version, sometimes they just go a little bit cheap and decide to use a sticker instead of a clear plastic piece. So the head can go down that much as usual, and then up a pretty good range, but I think this is actually considered a bit of a less going up, because I believe there were kits that other figures that could go more than this. I could be remembering it wrong, but still, that's a very good range. And 360 twist is possible, although I would like to recommend that you be careful with the antenna, because the direction it plugs in, it's kind of a little bit on the odd side. So yeah, it does sometimes pop off. And then, yeah, with the beam saber still there on the backpack, and then you are able to take off the backpack for some reason. Okay, let me just zoom out a little bit, and there we go. So let's go over the arms now. The arms can go, let's see now. Yeah, when you first get the figure, it might be a little bit stiff on the shoulders, but you are able to go more than 90 degrees to the side. Definitely good. And then, as usual, the arm being on the connection, where you can still rotate the arm 360, and you can still move the shoulder piece on its own, and 360 twist on the lower arm. I mean, on the entire arm like that. And then there is no. At first, it looked like it had a twisting point on the middle, but no, there is no twisting point. And then we have a nice bend going on here. And your hands are your typical robot Damashii hands, where the ball joint is on the arm and not on the hand. And then regarding the shoulder movement, we do still have the forward and backward movement, but instead of just the shoulder moving, we have the entire how should I say, the arm and the chest going on there, so you can see like the range of movement going on there. So this is something that the robot Damashii does these days. I'm not sure if this is like the best option, but still, if it works, it works. And then when we look at the waist section, pretty standard design. We have all the details going on here. We have the side skirt that moves, back skirt that does not move. And while I believe this figure also does not come with a bazooka, we still have the option to store a bazooka. They really love these bazooka storage mint, I guess. Oops. And yeah, once again, the ball joint connection, sometimes if you go a little bit too overboard, it does pop out. So just be careful and you should be fine. And then we can move the front skirt forward. And then once again, like all robot Damashii figures these days, they have the hinge system where you can reposition the leg as well. But I usually like to position them on the inside like that. And then we have the ball joint connection, and technically a side swivel does exist, but a very stiff one. Oops. A very stiff one exists, so just be aware that it does exist, but it barely moves because it's so stiff. And then we can go to the side. Despite the side skirts, we are almost able to go 90 degrees to the side, almost, because it's just the range of the connection right over here. And then we can go forward about 90 degrees, and then back not so much because of the back skirt, but depending on how you do, but still the back skirt is going to be on the way. And then we have a nice double jointed bend, or a nice range of bend. And your typical feet, where we have a nice pivot going on there. We can go down, up, a lot actually for some reason. And then I believe there is a toe bend. Yep, we have a toe bend that goes up, not down. I believe there should be one more thing going on here, but I guess I could be wrong. Alright, so we've seen the basics of the articulation right over here. So definitely, like the HGUC version or the Gym Custom, the mobile suit itself, a lot, while it was a very good mobile suit, but at the same time, it was a overall, it was too good to be, like, the overall stats were too good to the point where it doesn't actually have any distinctive features. So at the same time, while the Gym Custom looks cool, there isn't like any special thing going on here at the same time. So that might be something like some people, that could be a letdown to some people. But still, I really love the Gym Custom in general, and like there are some other reasons why I like this, but still the figure is very good and satisfying, and I am really happy with my purchase. Now I'll be right back with the equipment demonstrations. Okay, I'm back. So currently I'm going with a more landing pose. So I attached the thrusters onto effect parts onto the feet, and then I gave the double machine gun on each hand. So and I gave the beam shooting effect part onto the smaller machine gun. Now I will admit, now while this I did say that this effect part looks really good, but at the same time it does weigh a little bit, you know, heavy. So sometimes if you attach the effect part, you may sometimes see that the arm will droop down a little bit to the to the ground, but still it's not too bad, and it really depends on how you pose it. So yeah, and then I was able to attach the shield onto the backpack, and I'm really glad that on this case, like a lot with the original shield attaching part to the backpack, it was really hard to attach because it would either the ball joint would not connect, or sometimes if you got the ball to connect and then getting the other side of the peg connect to the back was very difficult. This one, it actually has a very strong connection onto the back itself, so I had zero problems attaching it onto the backpack, and I really love this aspect. And also I stored the ammo clips onto the shield. Now there is one thing I forgot to mention regarding the articulation, and I somehow forgot to mention it, is that the body, we have a very nice ab crunch going on here. Very nice ab crunch, and then not 360 twist on the body, but still a good range of movement. Alright, so we have seen one of these, so I'll be right back with a beam saber effect part. So once again, I'm not going over for every single pose that you could do with the figure. I'm just giving you guys a general idea what you could do with these figures. Okay, so here's the final pose. I gave it the beam saber on the left hand, although the storage system of the beam saber is actually technically on the right side for once. And I gave it the beam saber, the bent version. Definitely love that effect part. And on the back, I attached the smaller machine gun onto the back, and then the larger machine gun onto the shield, which works fine, very fine, because the problem I had with the Gym Cannon 2 was that the connection wasn't really firm, and I can definitely say this one has a much more better, stronger connection as well. And the shield connector I'm using is not the one that usually goes to the side, but to the back of the arm. So once again, everything fits and works fine. I haven't had anything fall off at the moment. And that's pretty much it for the review. So definitely, if you're a big fan of the Gym Custom or a gym collector, especially into the figure line, I would definitely highly recommend this. Granted, weapon-wise, it doesn't really have anything too special, but there's a lot of stuff you can do with this figure at the same time. So once again, thank you for watching the review. This was the Robot Damashii Gym Custom vs. Anime. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.